You're listening to Community Connection here on KGMI. I'm Crystal King, and my guest today is Ziad Youssef with MyTrafficMan.net. Welcome, Ziad. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Crystal, thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to this.
Now, Ziad, first of all, tell me a little bit about your company, MyTrafficMan.net. What exactly does that mean?
Well, MyTrafficMan.net's a website, but it's more than just a website. It's a link to Select Alliance of top caliber lawyers. What we do is practice criminal defense with a focus on traffic-related offenses like DUI and sometimes much more serious offenses like vehicular assault and vehicular homicide. We also do parking tickets. We do speeding tickets. But what we focus on is traffic-related offenses. I thought it would be a great idea to write about what we do on a website, and we called the website MyTrafficMan.net. And that's where you can go to learn a lot more about what we do as traffic defense attorneys.
Obviously, like you're saying, we're talking about parking all the way up to felony cases.
Yeah, we're talking about cases where the most you could lose is a $20 fine or 20 years to life. They range from things that could be, I forgot to feed the meter, to I didn't pay attention for a split second, and now I'm facing very serious consequences.
And we're talking about life-changing consequences.
Things that change lives literally, things that you can't take back in a split second. And people have to make choices about what to do and how to move forward. And we like to be there to help them do it because they're thrown into the legal system after a split-second decision, and they've probably never been in that system before. We like to first make ourselves available to explain what the system is and what the process is going to look like. And then we like to make ourselves available to help them come up with a roadmap out of that.
So Ziad, you get these phone calls then where families might not know where to turn. What's it been like for people to make that initial phone call to you? Was that difficult?
I think a lot of families go through the whole embarrassment of, I can't believe this is happening to our family. I don't know what we should do. For example, I've had families who just want to go to the prosecutor's office and tell them how good their son is or how good their family member is and hope that they're going to take mercy on them and let them walk away from this. And it doesn't work that way. The prosecutor's office has a duty to the public that goes beyond one simple case or one set of facts, and they have to try and be consistent with these cases. Families have to realize that first, it's okay to seek help, and then they have to make the next step, which is look for help. And how do we find someone to help?
Now, initially, it's an individual who's probably been a part of that split decision or lack of decision when an event happens that could be traumatic. We're talking families. How does that incorporate everybody?
Families who suffer a great tragedy get bonded very quickly. Things that may have been polarizing in their family automatically get shed, and there is this uniting factor of the tragedy that just occurred. They come in and for the most part, they're supportive, but each person may have a different opinion about how to proceed with the case. Mm-hmm. And it's important that you choose somebody that can keep a unified goal in a case like this. Because I'll tell you that the best strategy to get through a difficult time like this is to have a common goal. And you need to choose somebody that will help you set that common goal. But you also have to be prepared. And this is where having the entire family with you is important. You have to be prepared to have faith in that goal the entire way through the process, which could be months. If you can maintain a common goal and a strong faith in what you want to achieve, you're going to get there. And it's important to choose somebody that helps you stay on track with that goal.
In the studio today, Ziad has with him a client that had to make this decision and set a goal. Today we have with us Matthew. Now, Matthew, in your circumstance, when did the family decide they needed to reach out and get help?
The night we got the call about what happened, our lives changed forever. He had gone to the hospital and called us at 4 a.m. and then was telling us, the police say I have to hang up, they're taking me away. So that was a big wake-up call right there, helping us realize we have a very serious situation here. Right away, friends came out of the woodwork, friends and family. The biggest help that we had was that they recommended certain lawyers right away. We narrowed it down to 2 and interviewed both, and ended up both I and my son picked Ziad because of several factors. One was we just felt so comfortable with him, and he was genuine, and he really showed that he cared about this case. You could already see the wheels turning as he was thinking about okay, how do we proceed with this? Even though he didn't have the case yet. I became the buffer for my son through the whole process and was the one who was in contact with Ziad and the insurance and et cetera through the whole process, and ended up developing an incredible rapport with Ziad.
Matthew was so involved that he became an advocate for his son. As much as I was an advocate in the legal system for his son, he was an advocate for his son. And I am so grateful that I was in tune with what was happening and how they were feeling and what they were going through, because it's exactly what a family needs. You need someone not to just think about what's the decision between what lawyer. You need someone to think about what is it that you're going through? What are you feeling? And kind of help you understand what you're feeling and help you understand those thoughts and those fears. I'm very grateful that I was able to do that for Matthew and for the family.
You said this process of working with Matthew and his family has made you a better lawyer.
It sure has. Let me tell you what most lawyers have a problem with. I mean, the reputation lawyers get is they never return your calls. They're never available when you call them, and you don't ever get a chance to talk to them. And I've made that a top priority in my practice, and still it's difficult to return every call, and still it's difficult to be available right when they reach out and need an answer. But what Matthew would do is he would make a list of questions for me. He would send them in an email. And I really appreciated that. In fact, I appreciated it so much that I started suggesting it to all of my clients. I said, please, I want to answer your questions. I don't want you to have to wait so long to get a response to your questions. Would you please make a list of your questions in writing so that I can think through them in the evening when it's more quiet, and I can give you a response to each one? I started doing it that way. And I think as a result, I'm communicating with my clients in a much better way.
Now, Matt, I understand that with families in cases that they're facing like this, they need to understand that it's okay to ask for help. What was that like for your family?
Yeah, that was a bit of a challenge, I guess you could say. Right away, though, the reaching out of our son's friends was unbelievable. It was an experience that impressed me, and then, our faith in God really helped a lot to keep us grounded and to keep us focused on what was most important here. This kind of a situation tends to bring families together to help each other out versus worrying about the little petty things that annoy us or irritate us about each other. We've had this happen over a year, well over a year, from when the incident occurred till he actually went and got sentenced. And so, you're developing a relationship that needs to work. I will have to say that when I stepped in and was the buffer and the spokesperson for the family and for the son, there was some resistance by family at times about how the case was going. I believe Ziad was doing the best thing for him at the legal level, but at the emotional, we don't want him to suffer any more than he already has level for the family, there was some clashing going on, and I had to step in there and stand firm and stick with the decision, but that both my son and I made. Ultimately, I always honored his wishes in this whole situation. I was the one who needed to not let other people sway what it was that we had decided.
Yeah.
And ultimately, we got a decision that was amazing. Our son was actually able to stay local and keep his job, which pretty much was unheard of with what had happened.
If you had just gone straight to the prosecuting attorney, it would have been very different, I'm assuming.
Oh, without a doubt.
Okay. Again, we are talking to Matthew, who has worked directly with Ziad Youssef of mytrafficman.net. Thank you both for being with us. Ziad, tell me how people can get a hold of you.
They can look us up online at mytrafficman.net or call 360-734-0908.
Great. Thank you so much for joining us, Ziad, and also Matthew.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're listening to Community Connection. Stay with us. We have lots more coming up.